Sleep, one of the most important things for a human to function properly. It's said that we should all aim for around 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Some people exceed this amount, others are able to consistently reach it, while many settle for 4 to 5 hours. I remember my professor from my stress management class always talked about how sleep was important for things such as emotional regulation and cognitive performance. Maybe she just kept bringing it up because most of my classmates always showed up to class looking half asleep. I went to a community college, so my classmates ranged from freshmen in college to people who are retired. Since they usually looked so exhausted, I would ask the people I was familiar with why they weren't able to get sleep the night before. One of my classmates told me that her brother and his wife were staying with her while they were house shopping. Another told me he was arguing with his son. One other person told me she was hanging out with her friends. And someone else told me that they were up late binging a new series, which is also probably the main reason why I didn't get rest before class. One time, our professor had us do this weird stretch thing where we had to lay down on our backs with our legs raised against a wall. I don't really remember what its specific purpose was. I don't really think anyone paid attention while she was explaining it, because we all fell asleep after the first 5 minutes. There was only one other time where I did fall asleep in class. My sophomore year in high school took place during the pandemic, so it was pretty easy to fall asleep when the teacher was lecturing. I had a writing class where the teacher would post all of the homework for the week every Monday, and it would all be due by the next Monday, right before class. One time, I stupidly procrastinated the whole week and weekend and started working on it the next Monday morning. I got up at 4:30 and I only got like 3 hours of sleep because I went to sleep at 1 for some reason. And I worked on finishing it. I even worked through my first 2 class periods. Luckily, I managed to submit it right before class, but I was exhausted during the online meeting. This teacher wasn't too strict about us having our cameras on, so I had it off. During the meeting, she also mentioned that she would probably be ending the meeting early, as we didn't have too much to work on. When she started her usual lecture, I fell asleep. I woke up 2 hours later, meaning I also missed a portion of my next class as well. As a side note, whenever this teacher would end class early, she would just let us exit the meeting. She wouldn't end it in case some people had questions after. So when she let us leave early that day and I was asleep, I don't know how long my account was sitting in the class meeting for. When I woke up, I also scrambled to send an email to the teacher of my next class that I missed. Now, I have a question for you guys. Did you normally sleep in class? I never really slept in class, but I always got really close. And I know I just told 2 stories of me falling asleep, but I feel like that was kind of understandable, right? One time in high school, I had a debate, and I was so nervous the night before that I barely got any rest. After I finished the debate, my final class of the day was math, and I was starting to slow down. I remember when the teacher was lecturing, I was trying so hard to fight my eyelids from fully closing. Even my teacher saw me, and he looked so irritated. But this teacher didn't really say anything, nor did he really care, because there were a couple of people who would regularly sleep in the class. When we changed seats, I sat across from one of them, and he was bragging to me about how he's super subtle about sleeping when the teacher's lecturing. But this guy was like the loudest snorer, and I don't think he noticed it. Now, to the people who regularly get 4 to 5 hours of sleep, do you usually try to go to sleep at a reasonable time, but you just can't? Or do you procrastinate going to sleep? I usually procrastinate because when I get home from work or class, before I know it, it's already 10 p.m. And I know when my head hits the pillow, it's gonna time skip to the morning. So I'll usually just binge a show and lose track of time. I always say something like, I'll just watch 1 hour before I go to bed. Then, before I realize it, it's 4 a.m. and I have to get up in an hour and a half. Finally, something that's always interested me about sleep that I've never really researched are dreams and nightmares. I just know that they occur during REM sleep. What sucks about them is that if you don't continuously think about it after you wake up, you usually forget about them instantly. So I did start a dream journal so I could document how strange they could be. I also saw an online discussion about preferring bad dreams or good dreams. Some said that bad dreams were better because when you wake up, you're relieved that it was never real, opposed to having a nice dream and finding out that it doesn't exist. I was talking about this with a friend, and we both agreed that it was still better to have good dreams even after waking up. Our reasoning is that with good dreams, we usually forget about them as the day goes on, but after a bad dream, it usually stays in our mind for the rest of the day. Nightmares also just make you feel miserable. I don't like waking up in a cold sweat because of one. What do you guys think? Thank you for watching. In the comments, feel free to write which one you prefer, dreams or nightmares. Also, feel free to comment if you're one of those people who regularly get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep. Like, did you watch this video on like an energy drink? Which I hope not. Please make sure to get your rest. Anyways, this video took kind of a while to make, but it was a lot of fun. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a good day. Bye.